Yeah, sure. So I see IoT as essentially Internet of Things, which is a essentially a rapidly expanding network of interconnected devices that share data with one another, which typically don't require any human intervention as opposed to the initial setup. They range from everyday household items to smart thermostats, lighting systems, industrial equipment, wearable technologies, Uh, but that's essentially what IoT is to me. It can be ranged from multiple devices to all types of sorts of gadgets and visits. Sure, yeah, it's actually kind of difficult to pin down the exact number of type of IoT. There's because the landscape's constantly evolving. You've probably seen, there's smart fridges, smart home devices, wearables, industrial sensors, manufacturing equipment. The naval sea systems are using all sorts of IoT devices now to navigate their ships. They have smart city systems. But, if you want to categorize things, we could say we have consumer IoT, which is the smart home devices, smart speakers, wearables, things of that nature. We have our industrial IoT sensors, manufacturing equipment, and those type of IoT devices. And then we obviously have our infrastructure IoT, which is the smart city systems. You go to New York, you go to these big cities, they actually have all sorts of IoT devices and interfaces running all across the networks, transportation networks, railways, all of those pieces. So lots of types of IoT, but I would say, consumer, infrastructure, and then industrial types of IoT devices. Sure, yeah. Benefits include efficiency, cost saving, obviously automation, enhanced monitoring, control, ability to make data-driven decisions. For example, smart thermostats can optimize my energy usage, and industrial IoT devices are able to detect equipment issues before they cause downtime. Obviously, there are also risks to IoT devices, which we'll get into later on. But overall, primary benefits are enable the greater efficiency and automation across a wide range of industries. Uh, that it definitely has multiple benefits. Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of smart devices at home. I have a Google Home. I have Raspberry Pi, smart mirrors. I have LifeX bulbs, Philips Hues. I have all sorts of IoT devices. They include smartwatches, security cameras, smart locks, even connected kitchen appliances. I don't have a smart refrigerator yet or an oven, but yeah, all of these type of devices provide valuable data and obviously convenience. I like to tell my friends I haven't touched a light switch for about 5, 6, 7 years because I just have everything automated. But obviously, there's a downfall to all of these devices as well, which I believe we're going to be getting into later on. Absolutely. I believe numerous industries can benefit from IoT: manufacturing, agriculture, transportation, healthcare, retail. For example, we have smart sensors in agriculture, which actually monitor soil conditions, optimize irrigation, while healthcare providers can use wearable devices to track patient vital signs remotely. A whole slew of industries. I think I already mentioned healthcare. We also have manufacturing, transportation, energy, uh, and all of these IoT devices provide so much data. And obviously, there's a risk of data overload and information fatigue, which obviously can also lead to the risk of, well, you could be overlooking or missing key components of data. And industries like transportation and energy, IoT devices are used to optimize the operations, reduce cost. But obviously, on the flip side, there's the risk of system failures, cyber attacks that could have serious consequences to safety and national security as well. Sure. Yeah. So I definitely find IoT useful, or I would not be using it at in my home. It definitely has potential to solve many problems. We touched on a couple of items, which is improving energy efficiency, enhancing the supply chain management, providing remote healthcare services. However, on the flip side, getting into, there's a lot of useful benefits to IoT and can provide a lot of answers to a lot of problems that, mostly efficiency related, making risk-based decision based off the data that you're actually receiving through these sensors. As we touched on agriculture, allowing farmers to make better decisions in terms of how to raise their agriculture, things of that nature. But yeah, so I think it has the potential to solve a lot of problems, and but again, there's always that big risk to IoT. Absolutely. So this usually is the bigger question when it comes to IoT. You Google anything IoT, you are eventually going to come across some documentation. There's a forum, Reddit post talking about what risks they are. Well, there's privacy breaches. Your personal data can be exposed if the device is not properly secured. IoT devices are very susceptible to being hacked, could lead to unauthorized access to control. Attacker might even compromise a smart lock to gain entry to home, or use like a poorly security camera system to spy on a user. There's actually websites out there that will plug right into all of these IoT connected devices, specifically cameras, and you can just watch all of these people with IoT connected cameras, publicly available, no password, nothing needed, and it's kind of creepy. And one of the biggest risks is, the biggest example, I think, more recent example is IoT being vulnerable, is the ransomware attack in 2017. The WannaCry ransomware attack, it was not specifically designed to attack IoT devices, but the vulnerability, the server message block vulnerability, which allows the actual malware to spread to all of these unpatched systems. At the end of the day, IoT devices are susceptible to it. And, there were MRI machines, blood storage refrigerators, medical equipment. All of those components which were not specifically designed to target IoT devices were actually impacted. That incident demonstrated that there's a lot of potential for IoT devices to become victims of ransomware attacks. Going into Windows and system, they all share the same type of vulnerabilities, and it goes back into the importance of securing the IoT devices, making sure the software is up to date, implementing strong security measures, minimize the risk of potential additional future ransomware attacks or any type of cyber attack actually. But yeah, IoT devices are typically connected to the Internet of Things, and they lack security controls or even basic security controls. They are, as I mentioned, vulnerable to a wide range of attacks, from malware, denial of service, man in the middle. And one of the biggest thing is, because these IoT devices are actually designed to be low power and low cost, well, guess what? They'll end up lacking basic security functions like encryption and authentication. Sure, absolutely. We touched on some of the risk on IoT. It goes back to my primary concern is, one, rapid growth of IoT devices, where there is inadequate attention to the security measures. A lot of these devices come with weak default configuration. They use outdated protocols. And in my own home, I've implemented tactics like isolating these certain devices on a separate network, using VLANs, making sure we have set firewall rules set up for specific devices, going into filtering rules for my Google Chromecast and my Sonos speakers. Implementing even like pfSense, OPN Sense can help create more secure services. But going back into what's concerning is that, again, they're designed to be low power, meaning typically they'll come with weak hardware. They don't a lot of these devices don't even fully support the full TCP IP stack. They come with protocols, Telnet, FTP, SMTP with weak passwords, bad authentication policies, limiting passwords to few characters, literally little to no encryption. Again, due to the limited and weak hardware, a lot of these services are also based on open source, unmaintained repositories, no updates on manufacturers. And so, it all rolls back down to what's concerning is there's no lack of standardization. And that's a bigger problem because all of these IoT devices come from different manufacturers. They use different communication protocols, and trying to nail down a consistent, just trying to get consistency across all these type of devices and security controls and configurations makes it very difficult for organizations to ensure all of the IoT devices are secure, that they're interoperable across the different systems and networks they may be employing these IoT devices in. So at the end of the day, I think the biggest challenge and what really concerns me is the lack of standardization and how fast these services are growing and these devices are being developed.